I'm furious at the moment because my girlfriend Nora invited her ex-boyfriend to my apartment. I reside in a city apartment on my own. Nora typically spends about 80% of her time here, even though she officially lives with her roommate. Either earlier today or yesterday, while I was at the gym with my friend Dylan, she texted me about an old girlfriend she hasn't seen in a while, who happened to be in town. She wanted to find a quiet place to socialize, so I offered my apartment. I suggested that Dylan go out to dinner so they could have space and time to socialize. I was in a hurry because I was at the gym at the time. I didn't inquire about who she was inviting or anything else. Actually, I had to ask because the old acquaintance she was meeting at my apartment was her ex-boyfriend, Ryan. Around 30 minutes after this discussion, I received a text from her stating that they had arrived at the flat. I just said bed and moved on with my friend. I finished my workout at 6 p.m. and I decided to head to Whole Foods because their hot and salad bars have really good food. We ate there and left at 9 p.m. Now I'm on my way home, and honestly, I don't want to do anything more than say hi and go to bed. It had been a busy day, and I just wanted to sleep. I got home at 10 p.m. and had no idea if her companion was still there or not. I was hoping they weren't, since I didn't feel like mingling at all. When I entered the apartment, I noticed some large Timberland boots, unmistakably belonging to a man. Instantly, a thought crossed my mind. Her friend had brought her boyfriend along. I'll have to stay up and socialize now. I removed my shoes and jacket and began walking down the mini hallway. As I walked into the living room, I discovered my girlfriend sitting on the couch with a man at opposite ends of the couch, gazing at each other and conversing. My girlfriend startled slightly upon noticing me. I didn't think this was strange at the time, but it makes sense now. I'm still completely unaware at this point. I greeted the man and began approaching him. At the same time, I looked around the house for his companion. To be honest, I assumed she was in the restroom or something. I shook his hand and said something like, "Hey, I'm Nora's boyfriend." In response, he retorted with a hint of arrogance, asserting, "I'm Ryan, Nora's ex." A hush fell over the room, and suddenly it dawned on me that my girlfriend had been alone with her ex in my apartment for the past couple of hours. I turned to her, raising an eyebrow, and remarked, "So I assume he's an old friend of yours?" She affirmed with a, "Yeah." At this point, I refrained from hastily drawing conclusions, but fatigue weighed on me, and I lacked the energy for socializing. Moreover, discovering that my girlfriend was casually spending time with her ex in our apartment left me feeling disheartened. A silence settled in, and both of them displayed no inclination to revive the conversation they had moments ago. Nora inquired about my day, to which I responded, "It was fine, I guess. I've decided to call it a day. I'm sick of it." Barely a minute had passed since Nora asked me about my day. When I turned to Ryan and said, "Hey, do you mind wrapping it up for today?" "I have some things I need to discuss with Nora," he replied with a nonchalant "sure." When I looked at Nora, she couldn't even look me in the eye. I looked the guy over and said, "This is my residence, and I'm asking you to leave." He looked at her and asked, "Do you want me to leave?" I lost my calm and asked, "What on earth do you mean by that?" "I don't care whether she wants you to go or not. I'm telling you to get out of my house." Nora begged me to calm down and then turned to tell him he needed to go. Ryan stood up and walked down the hall to retrieve his belongings. I pursued him and he eventually left. When I returned, I found Nora upset and angry with me, claiming that I had embarrassed both her and myself. She argued that my reaction was entirely uncalled for, emphasizing that she had informed me about his visit. I retorted, stating, "No, Nora, you merely mentioned a friend was coming over." "A friend? Nowhere did you specify this friend was a male, let alone your ex." She then accused me of acting like a jerk. I told her, "You were in my apartment with your crazy ex." I then asked, "Why were you meeting in the first place?" And she told me he was going through a rough patch. She defended her actions by stating that he needed someone to lean on, emphasizing that she simply wanted to support him because he's a nice person. She argued that meeting in my apartment didn't imply any shady activities. I asked her how she would feel if the roles were reversed, and I was comforting my ex during a difficult time. She insisted that she would understand because she possesses empathy. That's BS, Nora, I said. You were upset with me in the gym because I smiled when a female complimented my lifting form. In response, she abruptly declared she was done talking and stormed out. I chose not to engage further, refraining from chasing after her or reaching out. I just sat on the couch, thinking about what had just transpired. I immediately phoned my father, who provided me with some excellent counsel. 2 hours ago, she sent me a text. Can we talk? I apologized for not informing her that it was my ex I had invited over. I didn't want her to misunderstand. Nothing happened, and nothing is going to happen. I love you. He reached out to me out of the blue, saying he needed someone to talk to. I didn't think much of it. I'm sorry for deceiving you. That might sound questionable, doesn't it? Initially, I didn't pay much heed, but I must apologize for misleading her. Clearly, I did consider it, or else I would have been honest from the start. I chose to have the conversation with him at her location to prevent any misconceptions. Please, let's talk. I love you unequivocally. I haven't replied yet, but after discussing everything with my father, I'm inclined towards ending things with her. Not because she spoke to him, but due to the way everything unfolded. The fact that she referred to him as an old friend instead of an ex is a significant red flag for me. I had a hard time understanding that. When I got upset with her ex, she didn't take my side, even though I was polite until I found out who he was to her. I just felt a lack of respect on her part. Not in the sense of gender roles where a woman should respect a man, but more in the sense of mutual understanding. If the roles were reversed and I was with my ex in her house, I would have supported my girlfriend when she was upset. I would tell my ex off for acting arrogant with my girlfriend. I'm still angry, so I don't want to talk to her right now. It's about 2 a.m. right now. Honestly, I'm just exhausted. I'm not even sure if I'm still angry. I live alone, so there wasn't anyone at my place that I could talk to. So I decided to call the one man who has always had my back since day one. As several of you have messaged and commented, I will go into depth about what our phone call contained. First, I'm going to go back to when everything happened, so everything makes sense. Also, as I read back my thoughts from last night, it was evident that I was rushing to a conclusion and simply tired of everything at that point. I missed a lot of details, so let's go back. Nora had just run out of my apartment when I talked to her about how she wouldn't mind me dating my ex because she needed someone to lean on. Like I said, I haven't called, texted, or followed up with her. Right now, I am in an incredible rage and can't believe what has happened. I sit down on the couch, attempting to engage in some breathing exercises in an effort to regain composure. Despite my best efforts, calming down proved difficult, as Ryan's question wouldn't leave my mind when he asked my girlfriend, "Do you want me to leave?" I hadn't gone into the details earlier, but that particular inquiry catapulted me into a whirlwind of emotions, pushing me to the brink of losing my composure entirely. Reminding myself that it's not worth the turmoil, I struggled to maintain a sense of calm. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Those words echo in my mind as the desire to confront Ryan intensifies, overpowering my attempts at self-control. Despite my efforts to calm down, frustration mounts. In a moment of surrender, I grab my phone, activate Siri, and utter the command to call my dad. Uncertain about what I'll say, I instinctively turn to the one person who has the ability to bring me back from the edge, my father. I cannot remember the exact details of the conversation, but I will try to convey its essence. I dialed his phone number. My dad answered. I said, "Dad, I had a serious run-in with Nora. I'm really upset. I don't want to make a fool of myself." "So where are you now? Are you with her? Are you okay?" "I'm at home and she just left." "Yeah, I'm fine." There's a long silence, and then I hear my dad take a deep breath and say, "All right, tell me." I started recounting the same details I shared with you all in my previous post. Throughout the entire explanation, my father remained quiet, not uttering a single word. When I concluded the narrative, his only question was, "What does Ryan look like?" Honestly, I was taken aback, wondering why on earth it mattered to my dad. I replied, "I don't know. He had long curly hair." My father said, No. How tall was he at this point?" I'm like, "What, Dad?" I don't think he was taller than 5'9". My father smiles a little and explains the Timberlands, which are the massive boots that Ryan was wearing. The masculine counterpart of heels. I didn't know it until yesterday, but my father was doing what he always does. I can't get mad when I laugh, and my dad has an amazing ability to make me laugh whenever he wants. Inevitably, I burst into laughter and admitted, "You've got a point there." He followed up with, "How much do you think he weighed?" After a brief moment of consideration, I estimated maybe around 150 pounds. "Nora told Ryan to leave after you told them to get out, right?" I confirmed, "Yes, that's what happened." My father paused once more, drawing in a deep breath before speaking. "Son, I wouldn't be surprised if this situation is a lie. It's much deeper than it appears. She only started demanding you leave after you got really upset. You standing at 6 feet and weighing 195 pounds were just subjected to disrespect in your own home by a man. When a woman genuinely cares for someone, the last thing she desires is to see him in harm's way. She comprehended precisely the potential consequences if the situation kept escalating, and she made the decision to remove Ryan from harm's way. This was followed by shifting all the blame onto you and departing. Honestly, son, where do you think she's at right now?" I remained silent. I understood what he was saying. "I know it's painful, but promise me you won't do something rash. She's made her choice, and there's limited impact you can have on altering it. There isn't much you can do about it. You've shown your entire life that you're one of a kind. Don't get too worked up over something that will only be a little hiccup on your journey. I mean it. I want to be proud of you, son. You're 22 years old and live on your own in the city. You've got it together. It's a rarity. For me, the right woman, such as your mother," I laughed a little, "will appear in your life at the most unexpected times. Don't squander your efforts. Every event occurs for a purpose." I took a moment, then spoke. "Thank you. I needed this, Dad. Certainly, your mom and I are here to support you. Now let's rewind to this morning. I had a sleepless night, making the morning utterly dreadful. Nora bombarded my phone with apologies and pleas for forgiveness throughout the night. It's now around 10 in the morning, and by this point, I'm completely just over this situation. I have yet to reply to her since she abruptly left last night. From my perspective, she has already made her decision. Nevertheless, I have a busy week ahead, and I can't allow this situation to continue affecting me so profoundly. To clear my mind, I decide to grab a bite to eat before heading down to the gym in my apartment building for a run. On days focused on weightlifting, I prefer the private gym, while for cardio sessions, I utilize the facilities in my apartment complex. Engaging in a run serves as a therapeutic escape for me. At approximately 1 o'clock, my phone rings, and unsurprisingly, it's Nora. Despite my reluctance to answer, considering our 2.5-year relationship, I felt a sense of obligation, answering the phone with the usual "What's up?" But immediately, I hear her sobbing. "I'm sorry. I love you so much. Please just talk to me. I shouldn't have walked out last night." I found myself in a state of panic. I remained silent. "Please, let's have a conversation. This situation doesn't feel right. Talk to me, your girlfriend." I apologize for saying nothing happened. I promise I won't communicate with him again. "I'm begging you, can we just talk?" It was at this moment that the realization of my deep feelings for her truly began to set in. Without experiencing anger, sorrow, or any distinct emotion, I honestly found myself indifferent as she spoke. I simply replied, "Can you come over around 4? Is she still crying?" Yes, she confirms. I conclude the call. Now I'm just seated on the sofa, patiently anticipating 4 o'clock. Suddenly a knocking sound echoes through the hallway. Soon after, my girlfriend appears, stepping out from the corridor. She begins to smile and cry while wiping her tears again. As I observe the scene, a sense of indifference washes over me, a realization that I no longer harbor the same care. It begins to dawn on me, 2.5 years wasted. The woman I felt a profound connection with just a day ago now stands before me, tears streaming down her face, yet I remain indifferent. "Nora, it's over between us," I declare, my words catching her off guard. Through tearful sobs, she barely utters a confused "What?" I repeat, "It's over." "No, please, no, I'm sorry. Don't end this between us." I love you intensely, she pleads in desperation. I'll be honest, that final blow really struck deep, like a heavy blow to the heart, man. I couldn't conceal it any longer. The facade had crumbled. Don't end this between us, she pleads. I'm sorry, but I can't endure this nonsense any longer. I don't know what impression I've given you throughout our relationship, but I won't stay in a relationship with a woman who holds such a low opinion of me. The choice to terminate our relationship was yours, triggered by the moment you secretly invited your ex into my apartment, Nora. That's an action I cannot overlook. My thoughts spill out like a tidal wave, and I won't dismiss such a blatant breach of trust. Nora, I'm not naive. You provided him with a certain level of assurance that emboldened his behavior, and you even supported him in my presence. Why would I remain with someone who won't stand by me? I'm in tears now. Nora apologizes, saying, I'm sorry, I love you. I'm sorry. I couldn't bring myself to continue pressing her. She was falling apart, tears streaming uncontrollably. So I just sat down in silence. I'm sorry, it won't happen again. I love you, only you. I won't ever talk to him again. I promise. Please just give me one more chance, she pleaded. I remained utterly silent, feeling an immense pressure on my chest. My ribcage felt like it was about to break beneath the strain. I sat there quietly, listening to her sobs. One of my favorite songs sprang to mind. I'd rather have loyalty than love. Because love doesn't actually mean anything. Love, after all, is simply a sensation. You may love someone while stabbing them in the back. It doesn't take much to fall in love. You can love someone simply by being attached to them. Loyalty, in essence, is an action. It stands unwavering whether love or hatred is in play. The lyrics echoed in my mind. To many, it might seem she said all the right things for me. Actions carry more weight than spoken promises. Her choice, evident in last night's decisions, spoke louder than any words she could utter. In the end, actions outweighed the significance of her words. I find it challenging to maintain composure at this juncture. I loved her, and frankly, I still do. But I understood this was what's best for me. Trust is a critical component of any relationship, and regrettably, both trust and loyalty have been lost in my case. I glance up as she sobs and cries. It's over. There's no salvaging this. As she gazes at me and utters my name, I interject. No, please just stop. It's over, Nora. Do us both a favor and take your things and leave. Let's put an end to this right here. Without a word, she rises and begins gathering her belongings scattered around the apartment. I grab a garbage bag and assist her in packing. Later, she placed the keys to my apartment on the table and departed. All of this concluded around 5:30 today, and I've been sitting here, attempting to make sense of what just transpired. Frankly, it all still feels surreal. I'm going to continue to work on myself and push forward. Wise man, my dad said, the best things will come into your life when you're not looking for it. Dad said all the right things. She diffused the situation, but for whom? Where did she go after she left? Why would any sane person with even a modicum of self-respect want to stay in this? Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like, as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what you think about the story.